Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Press Talk Sports Live. I am host Jeff Weisinger. Joining me, three very special guests who I have not seen last year, and in addition to the crew, I'm with Rebecca, Taylor, and Jessica from Lumos Volleyball Club. Good to see y'all.
Good to see you.
A lot has changed in the last year, I've noticed.
Yes.
How y'all doing?
We're great. Yeah.
Good to see y'all. Who's the little one? Because I can feel the vocals already, kind of forming in place.
This is AJ, aka Boss Baby. He comes with us to all of our Lumos events. He's my son. He just turned 5 months old.
Awesome. Happy birthday. Happy belated.
So yeah, he's I had him in December, and so he's at all of the practices and tournaments and club events.
I love that he had the Boss Baby title already.
Yeah.
Off the bat. I literally pictured the suit and the glasses and everything.
Yep.
That's so perfect. Awesome. How have y'all been? How has the club been doing last year? I mean, you guys are really kind of building everything up from ground up. What's the last year been like for y'all?
Yeah, so year one, it's actually been pretty great. We've had some behind the scenes bumps in the road, but for the most part, we ended up with one team.
Okay.
A 16s team that actually is made up of quite a few young girls because we had some older ones, and so we had to throw in a bunch of young players and kind of build them up. So we've gone to a bunch of tournaments, and we have one coming up, our last one, Memorial Weekend in Long Beach.
Okay.
So we're about to take a road trip with them, and it's going to be a huge tournament. There's teams from Canada that are going to be there. It's hosted by Nike.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gearing up to head down there to end our season off.
So the little one's going to be driving down, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, giving him the keys.
Yep. It's Boss Baby's responsibility,
Yeah,
obviously. You know.
He's got to get us there safe.
Yep. What has it been like growing this team? I mean, when we last talked, it was really kind of starting from the ground up and everything. Just what's the last year been like for y'all? Just kind of putting it all together. You said you have one team. A little bit. It sounds like it's a little bit younger than you guys may have wanted. But what have you guys taken out of this last year?
I can say for me, patience, definitely, because having a younger team when I'm used to coaching older girls was definitely a lot different. And so just having patience with them and also just seeing them blossom into the players that they are now. So, you know, in the last interview I said that my favorite part is watching the transformation from the beginning of season to the end of season. And you know, these girls have worked so hard to be where they're at, and so it's really exciting, and we hope that they stay with us for the next few years.
I think AJ agreed.
Yeah.
I'm saying it. But I kind of follow up on that. You know, you used to coaching older. Talk about that transition of like now coaching younger players, where it's like, I don't call it an immature mentality, but compared to the high school players, compared to older, it is a little bit not as formed, I guess you could say. What's that? How have you kind of changed your coaching style with that?
I'm not as mean. I can be a lot meaner.
That's usually the first check, right?
And also just, you know, the girls are a lot more, I would say, they don't take themselves as serious. At a young age, it's more fun for them. So they take the learning of volleyball, they take it more as just like, okay, I'm learning how to play. And then, you know, we're like, if you go, oh, hey, if you know you want to do this seriously, then, you know, we'll definitely help you get there. But at this point, we're having fun. And that's what is really important to us, because we don't want them to come in and we're being mean and we're being jerks. And they're like, oh, I hated this experience. I never want to come back to club. Or I never want to play volleyball again. Because at the end of the day, we're really here, yes, to build players, but for them to have fun and enjoy the game of volleyball.
I think when you said you know, you're less mean, I think I could feel the judgment already. You're less mean. He just turned his head like.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part in it is that, not to say they're immature, but the maturity level from an 18s team to half of our team are 8th graders this year.
Oh, so we went from 18s to like 13, 14 pretty much, right?
Yeah,
the beginning.
So at least half the team, right?
Yeah, half the team are in 8th grade.
Yeah. So and they're on a 16s team because we had to move them all up in order to kind of form one team. And so they've had to, like, it's kind of a humbling experience because at that age you're amazing, but in a 16s bracket it's like, whoa, like we gotta try and keep up, and you know we couldn't do a 15s because all of the tournaments are 16s.
What's it been like kind of watching them compete against older talent like that? I mean, in ways when you have a 14 team, even players who are like that, who are like legit and you're taking on 16s, like they kind of match. When you have at the same time, when you have a younger team that's not at least mentally fully there yet, like that, it can be challenging. What's it been like watching them compete against older talent?
I would say that even though competing against older girls, they've done really well. I mean, every kid kind of gets down on themselves when they make a mistake, right?
That seems to be a volleyball thing for what it's worth, right?
Volleyball is very, very mental. It takes a toll on you, one mistake after another.
We've learned a lot this year covering the high schools here and everything on both the girls and boys side, especially the boys side.
But they've competed really well. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell that they're a younger group.
Yeah. I think they can hang, and there's so many times where we're like, man, we should have won that.
Right.
But their mental and emotional capacity, we've improved significantly, but we haven't got them there yet just because they don't have the years of experience yet. Whereas someone that's a freshman or sophomore or junior or senior is, okay, and now I've had all these years that I've played, and so I know how to, like, keep that, my emotions in check.
How to compartmentalize, so to say, right.
Yeah. These girls, some of them have never even played before, so they're just kind of figuring it out, and it's kind of, we hope that it's not discouraging, but we hope that they're also proud of themselves, like, hey, you're 14 or 13 and you competed at a 16s level. We kind of forced you into that, but at the same time you stepped up to the plate.
In ways, in a weird way, it's almost, especially for what y'all trying to build, is like a blessing in disguise, right? You guys talked about kind of building this program ground up and having younger talent, having the range, and now you have this younger team where, you only have one team, but they're gonna kind of, you'll have them for a while. Do you guys see it like that? If that makes sense?
Yes, absolutely.
I think that kind of was the mindset shift there because, like we said, we've coached 18s teams and 16s teams, so we've had juniors, seniors, maybe some sophomores for the most part. And so after a few months, we started to realize, like, hey, we kind of need to target a younger audience because if we want them to come through our program, we got to start from here rather than saying, hey, we want the older girls, simply because it's kind of easier, right? They already have...
And you guys are used to that, too.
Yeah, we're used to that, and we're not starting from scratch. With this group, a lot of it is starting from scratch, where they're like, we don't do rotations in middle school, or we don't, I don't understand the fundamentals, or like why we do certain things. I don't know what that means. I don't know the volleyball language.
Trying to serve in the different zones and the way you react to different. I understand it. In that case, with that said, like, do you guys see it as that, like, blessing? I mean, I think do you guys see it as that blessing in disguise? And like, how do you kind of follow that? Is it when as they get older now you kind of opening the door a lot more for the younger talent, for the middle school talent? Is that kind of the idea going forward from this?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I think for us it's also about, these kids go through a lot, not just volleyball, right? So making sure that we are still taking care of their social emotional health as well as teaching them volleyball, and it's really hard when they do get stuck and tough on themselves, is making sure that they know that we're here as coaches to support them. And I feel like we've done an amazing job of kind of tailoring our coaching style to where we're not, like, we'll just suck it up. We promise you have, leave it at the door. It's like, okay, no, let's talk through this. Let's figure out what's going on, because we want you to be able to understand in a game, we're not there on the court with you. You're going to have to make sure that you're mentally tough, and also that you're able to navigate those emotions when you're in a game, whether it be club or college or high school, making sure that you're able to navigate that stuff. So yeah.
I feel like he has an opinion on this.
He's like, yes, I know what they're talking about.
What does he mention managing the emotional part with the girls? 13, 14, y'all know this a lot more than I do, but y'all, it's a very pivotal age when it comes to like, developing emotions, the mental space and all that. What's that been like for y'all, kind of having to deal with that on top of the volleyball stuff, and even at a more extreme, so to say, point?
It's very tough. We have several parents that are like, you guys enjoy doing this, and you don't mind not getting paid. We're like, we're passionate about it, and we're used to having that many girls at a time, right? Like, it's a group of teenage girls. It's going to be difficult. That's just the bottom line. But it's difficult because some days somebody's having a hard time or everybody's having a hard time.
Right.
And we have to navigate that in order to have an effective practice, because if we don't, then we're staring at a bunch of faces that like look like they don't want to be here. So we have to address that. Some coaches can get upset, and we do on occasion, but we try to focus on like, okay, what's going on? Either you guys go have a conversation amongst yourselves, or we all sit down and have a conversation. What's the problem? Why is this happening? Why are we feeling like this? What can we do to change how you feel, or how, you know, what's going on, the vibe here? And so, you know, we have to deal with that.
That sense of girl development in ways, not just as a player, but also as a person, especially going to high school. Has that been, would you guys say that's been kind of more the pivot you've taken with the club, as far as like, okay, you guys are used to having the 16, 18-year-olds ready to go to college and trying to get scholarships and playing club at the next level, whereas now it's kind of like, okay, now we're going to, it sounds more like you're doing, if I may, like this more mentorship role through volleyball. Does that kind of make sense? Am I right on that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100% correct. It's more important for us, be good at volleyball, but be a good person. Be a good person in this world. Have humanity, have kindness, be a good teammate.
It's interesting because when you think about sports nowadays, especially at the club level, it really is such a business. I mean, y'all can definitely speak to that a lot. We've all seen that. It's a very cool take, honestly. I think it's something that's it's needed in the space. I mean, when you think about, you know, I think of it, especially from the boys' angle of it, not just from club volleyball, but also like with football, baseball, and AAU basketball, where, you know, the highlight films and getting this to colleges and, oh, my kid's going to get drafted and this, that, and the other, you know, and here you are, like, we're going to not only develop great talent, we're going to develop great people. And I think that's such a great pivot for what you guys are trying to do. How have the girls themselves responded to the change? Not I want to say change in club culture, but like, how have they kind of responded to how y'all have kind of like changed direction with what y'all are trying to do? Bless you.
I think they've done well. I think they appreciate that we care. And there's been a few comments of like, man, I really appreciate that, you know, you talked to me about this, or, you know, what the things that we've discussed, and, you know, you guys are the best coaches that I've had in a few years, and this and that. And, you know, it's such a huge thing that matters to us, and I think that it's translating in our actions to them, and I think that they respond really well to it.
How do you respond with AJ?
Oh, they
absolutely.
They go around giving fist pumps every practice.
It changes. You know what's fun with sports in general? When you bring a baby involved, no matter what sport, like you just see an entire like roster change. Like everything just changes, right? Like I've had like my coach brought it. When his daughter was born at Logan, he brought his daughter to practice one day, and you know. This is football. This is especially like JV football, so everyone's trying to be all tough. And when she came along, man, everyone got so soft. It was great. I was like, okay, this is really all right here. Like, it's so cool.
I think it helps with the emphasis on family too. Like we very much care about our parents and everyone feeling like we're a family. So they take pictures with him, and
do they? That's awesome.
They hold him.
Yeah, they hold him. We actually have so many parents that come and stay for practice. So they'll be like, "Coach, you need me to hold him while you do this and that." He's in
so they help watch him.
Yeah,
that's
he's
so
in
cool.
Our team photos, like, so it's really nice that that's the way it is, and nobody's annoyed that like, she has a baby on the court. You know, because some people can, if they're paying for that time, it could bother them that like, oh, coach is walking away because she has to go feed him or something.
Right.
But you know, it's great and they love him.
How much does that help you personally? Just kind of like, not just like having people kind of there to help, but just that sense of like being able to have that, I won't say that space per se, but be able to have that space and not stress back and forth, not have like 1 foot on the court, 1 foot.
Yeah,
you know.
It's amazing to me, and I really, really appreciate it, and I can't thank them enough for being so accepting of that. And I know that like in the volleyball world right now, there's a couple coaches on TikTok that are like really popular that are fighting for being able to have your kids more involved and around because refs are being a lot harder on, like, your baby can't be on the bench with
Really?
you sitting in your lap. Your baby can't be, anywhere near. And a lot of moms struggle with that because it's like, sometimes my baby doesn't want anyone else but
Right.
me. But I still want to be here and be present and coach. And so with our at our age, our families are going to continue to grow. And so it's nice to have an environment where that's accepted and wanted and, everyone cares.
I can understand in ways maybe the safety angle because like
Yeah.
if a ball flies, I mean, someone misses a block, ball flies to the
Right.
to the bench. I totally understand that, but like, I also feel that should probably be parental discretion.
Right,
But like,
their choice to make.
yeah, exactly. Have you guys dealt with those kind of refs, if I may ask? Has that kind of come up?
Not,
Okay.
No. My parents are also part of our staff, and they come to every practice, so they
Okay.
help take care of him.
Right.
So it's
So it kind of helps a little.
Yeah, it's
okay.
more so like my village is much larger than it would be.
Right.
So everybody's kind of watching him, and so
That's
I get
so
to
cool.
do my thing. And in the bleachers, I can see everybody like watching over.
Right.
me. So my husband's there, then my parents are there,
Right.
and then the rest of our team parents are also like, "Hey, do you need anything?" So
That's
he's
so
very
cool.
well taken care of, and the girls love having him around. So it's
That's
nice.
so cool. You mentioned the village is a lot bigger. I kind of want to ask about that, Paul. When you guys started this 2 years ago, a year ago.
Technically,
We're gonna talk
2 years
about you
ago,
again.
But this is our first season. Yeah.
So when you guys started this 2 years ago, did you expect it to kind of be the family angle of it to kind of be like this? Was this kind of? I know you guys wanted to be. Oh, we're gonna. Every team says they're gonna be a family, right? Like we've all heard it, no matter regardless of what sport. But for y'all, it really, literally is. When you think, especially with AJ here, you have one on the way. Congratulations,
Thank you.
right? Did you guys kind of expect that in a sense where it's like, well, when we have kids one day, and now that the one day's here, you guys kind of see it being really becoming a village in that regard?
Yeah, I feel like that was our foundation. Like we really wanted to make sure that our parents and our players felt protected, loved on, nurtured.
Right.
As soon as they walk in our gyms. So we wanted to make sure that not only us coaches felt like we were a family, and that took a lot of bonding, a lot of, we're friends, yes, but
Right.
like, when we start a business, that's completely different.
Right.
And so I feel like us having that foundation of we are friends, we are family, and then having that love and compassion for everyone else that comes into our gym was
Right.
so important to us, because we've been at other places and we're like, wow, like the parents are unhappy, the kids are unhappy, and it's like, no, we want everyone to be, we can't please everyone, right?
Right.
But we want everyone to be as happy as possible, and to be loved on and nurtured, and
And I personally have never seen such a full gym at just practices. When I tell
Really?
you the bleachers are full, probably of our 10 girls, half of the parents are at every single practice without fail. They help shag balls. They help get equipment and take equipment to the cars at the end of practice.
Along with their siblings.
Yeah.
Younger brothers.
That's awesome. It's kind of cool because like you don't really see it like that. Like every team preaches family, and y'all actually living it.
Yeah.
Like that's actually really cool. What has been the toughest part with this? I mean, outside mentoring the girls and stuff like that, what's been the toughest part as far as like continuing to build this now with the ever growing family and apparently now a village, which will be a town soon?
Right. In my opinion, outside of all the fluffy stuff, that's great. Financially funding this thing.
Has it gotten harder since?
Yeah. It has. Thankfully, we were awarded a grant, and
Congrats, okay.
the
Keller
Canyon
Canyon, yeah.
grant. So we got some money there, thankfully, and we were able to scholarship 2 girls, which was amazing. But we've been hustling with fundraisers and all that stuff. So sponsorships and donations are very hard to come by. But we're still working and we're getting by. But gym time is so expensive. Tournaments are not that bad in my opinion. Now that we've kind of like
Kind of got a feel for it and everything.
That's not that bad. Surprisingly, all of the merch and things are not that bad when
Okay.
you buy in bulk.
Right.
But equipment's very expensive. There's so many other things that you don't think about. We have to have a storage because now we have all these things that we didn't have before. And, we have to have insurance and we have to have, now we went and got bank accounts and there's, different things. You have to pay for all these things ahead of time. So now, thankfully, going into the next season, we're a little better off. But obviously, when you start a business, it's going to be a few years before you're comfortable.
Right.
But hopefully next season we have a lot more teams. We were hoping for 2 last season and we only got 1. And it seems like, to pivot off of that, it seems like the older girls are not playing club much anymore unless they're playing for big clubs. Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that are want a smaller club are not really playing. I think we had maybe 2 girls for an 18s team, and then we had to eventually tell them hey, we don't have enough girls, enough interest to make an 18s team. So financially that was tough because we were hoping to have 2 teams and that would bring more money in to fund everything else, and all the money that we bring in goes directly to the club. So our time is volunteered and so that's been the hardest part, is the finances, trying to make sure that we have enough money to do all these things.
You guys you mentioned the older girls not playing club as much. I find that very interesting because I was especially covering out here, covering girls volleyball out here. Why, if I may ask, is it just because it's big club or bust, or is it just a high school? Is it a high school thing? I mean, I'm kind of curious on that part.
I would say it's 2 things. It's a big club or bust, or the girls want to work and they're like, I want to make money. Right now,
understandable.
I'm like, this economy, we understand.
Same.
So
on top of that, I would say another reason is the cost.
Yeah.
Even though we are, more than less than half of the cost of the bigger.
Because that was a big thing we talked about last year. When you guys
and we can't offer anything else or anything cheaper when it comes to that, because we've done the calculations so that we can have a little bit to go towards the next season, but we need all that money to do everything that we're doing. And a lot of it is cost. There's so much need and there's so much interest, but there's also just as much, if not more, need. So people are like, oh, I want to play, but I can't afford it. Even at the $2,500, that's way less than everyone else, or most people, they still can't afford it. And we were able to thankfully give 2 full scholarships.
Oh, wow. So even with the financial struggle, so to say, you got to still give scholarships. How tough is it? I mean, does it come to a point where you maybe hold scholarships back for a year, just kind of balance those out? I'm kind of curious on the financial aspect of it, because running a team, it costs money. I think a lot of parents don't realize that. And what you guys doing as far as pretty much cutting that cost in half, it surprises me that not as many girls who want to play club are not going to that, where I can go here and spend about $3,000, so what was it, $5,000, something like that?
Yeah, 3 to 5.
And then, or I can go to Lumos and spend about $15,200, roughly, right? Would it come to a point for you guys to kind of balance this financially, where you would hold back scholarships, maybe raise costs a little bit? Have you guys, if I may ask, have you guys considered that?
I think we got the grant specifically to give scholarships.
Okay.
So for that,
so that's separate.
Right.
Okay.
And then thankfully I work for the nonprofit world. So I have access to grants and Jess does amazing grant research. So we're able to get some money in. I think we just got $5,000 in. I think we're just gonna keep that as buffer money. Just because, we do more than just merch, tournaments, practice. We do a lot more. We do Valentine's Day, Christmas, we do birthday celebrations. We do so much more than just practice, gym time, all that stuff. Right. Yeah, we want to keep that buffer to make sure that we're still good financially.
Right.
And I don't think that we're at the point where we want to raise costs.
Right.
Because we struggled enough with there were people that I think just didn't maybe do enough research into what they were kind of signing up for. And so $2,500 was already pretty steep for them.
Right.
We do offer payment plans, but even then it's just out of some people's reach. And we do understand that club volleyball is a luxury, right? That's the bottom line, is it's not necessary.
Well,
but it
club,
would
club
be-
sports in general.
Yeah, club
Right.
sports in general.
Right.
But it would be so great if we could have more money to set aside specifically to sponsor
Right.
girls that want to play that just can't play. Or even pay any of it, right? Their parents just are struggling and they have so much talent, but they can't do
Right.
it. So I think that's a big thing. There's so many different categories that people fall into, and it's like, they want to get jobs or their parents can't afford it. They have to prepare for college, but with the younger kids, oh man, we just can't afford to pay that much
Right.
for them to play. So at $2,500, we're able to put a little bit aside for the next season, but majority of that goes into gym time,
Tournaments,
everything
gym time.
we need. Yeah, because
Right.
we're doing small extras. Like Valentine's Day was great. We did gifts. We at a tournament we had
Right.
one that weekend, and so it was a fun little thing. But majority of that money that comes in is going right back into the club.
How stressful is it to kind of? I think I ask this because I feel the good part of it about an interview like this is, and having y'all in talk about it, is the fact that parents probably won't ask these kind of questions.
Yeah.
They'll want very direct answers. Where's the money going? Where's this?
Yeah.
And I think they don't. It's you can understand where everything goes, but you don't understand the why.
Yeah.
And I love that y'all are open about that.
Yeah.
Have parents complained about the cost, if I may ask? Because, I mean, if they do, it's interesting because there are clubs that cost more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I
No,
know of.
not
They just-
really. I mean, parents will make jokes like, like, thank goodness there's a payment plan, or
Yeah.
like you wouldn't be
I mean,
playing.
also, thank goodness it's a payment plan.
Yeah. But I don't think anyone's really complained. I think those
Right,
that are
yeah.
on the team signed up knowing what they were
Right.
getting into. And so, we're very open about like, hey, it's difficult to get gym times on
Right.
top of the fact that it's expensive. Like, frankly, we pay probably $1,000 a month just for the 2 days a week that we practice.
What are you guys practicing
We're
at?
at the Antioch Community
Antioch,
Center.
okay.
Yeah, and there's not so many gyms, so everyone's like trying to get in there. So the wait list is so long. They do their best.
Right.
They're great. They work with us. They'll call and say, hey, I can't accommodate this day and that day, but I do have this time available. So we're practicing late. We practice
Right.
Wednesdays from 8:30 to 10.
Oh, wow,
And
okay.
then on Sundays from 10 to 1. So 3-hour
Right.
practice,
Right.
which is tough some days.
Just
Some
to make
days-
up time and everything.
yeah,
Right.
so we're trying to give them the amount of time that we feel is appropriate that they're paying for,
Mm-hmm.
but also, make sure that it's a reasonable time because
Right.
the weekends are tough.
Right,
and
right. Especially Sundays.
Yeah, Sundays are
Right.
tough. And now since they're offering weekends, now everyone's trying to get weekends as well.
Right.
So it's just like, it's tough to get gyms, but and it's tough to get in the gym, and then it's tough to get the times, and then it's expensive while they're not overcharging, right? It's reasonable, and they're probably the least expensive of all the gyms we looked at. But it is very stressful because we're like, man, we have to plan 6 months out and hope that we get all these times, and if we don't, now we have to have another discussion so that we can pivot
Right.
and say, okay, well, if we change XYZ, now we got to move this over here, and we have a
Right.
big old calendar we're looking at and all these things, so it is very stressful.
Almost as if, like, but at the same time, if you're planning 6 months out, it's almost as if, like, what if you also don't get the team?
Yeah.
Then what, right? Because, I mean, a lot of these gyms, I imagine, is like a cancellation fee if
Yep.
that
Yep.
happens,
Yep.
right?
Because that's exactly where we're at, right?
Right.
Our season goes November to May. So
Okay.
we book June to December. So
Right.
now we have to book gym time on a, like, okay, well, if we have hopefully 4 teams, because we have 4 head
Right.
coaches, then how are we going to navigate 4 teams in a gym with 2 courts?
Right.
So now we have to book 6 hours of gym time on a Sunday, hoping that we fill those 4 teams.
Right.
And if we don't, okay, now we gotta hope that maybe they won't charge us so much of a cancellation fee if we reduce that down because we only got 2 teams.
Right. I think he needs. I think he's complaining for more gym time. Low cost.
More gym time.
He's very advocative.
More gym time.
You just wanted your mommy, that's all.
Yeah. So it's stressful, but there's 3 of us, so
Uh-huh.
it helps reduce that stress.
Right,
because
right.
There's 3 brains are better than 1.
True.
And we all take care of different things, so it's a little bit easier when it's like, okay, here's what we can do.
Chew on your bed.
I feel you want to add to this.
He's like, I think that it shouldn't be so stressful.
I agree with you.
Stresses me out too.
I agree with you. Trust me.
My time.
Yeah.
It's almost my nap time too, so I'm trusting him. We're on the same page here. We're definitely AJ and I on the same page. I like him already. You guys said you guys have a tournament coming up
We do.
next
Memorial
week. The end of the month.
weekend.
Yeah.
What are you guys kind of looking forward to in that for that tournament? Especially with the younger team. Is this first like long distance travel?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the first road trip.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
all right, half hour on this part. Here we go. So what are you guys considering? This is the first time they've gone down to SoCal to compete. What are you guys kind of looking for with the team from the tournament?
I personally have seen a lot of growth in the last couple of months. So our last tournament was in March.
Okay.
And I think they were very timid prior. And then we had a couple conversations when we came back. And I think that now they're a little bit more confident. And a few things have clicked more.
Okay.
Like...
The road trips, but the long trips do that sometimes. But I've noticed this with girls teams, especially like in the ones I've covered. Where I know Heritage Girls basketball. He's not happy about having to drive to LA for what it's worth.
He's like
But I've noticed this with a lot of girls teams. When I was covering Heritage basketball a couple years ago, last 2 years ago, they went down to San Diego. They drew on San Diego for like the annual Christmas trip.
Yeah.
And they have a tournament down there and whatnot. And so when they came back, like they ran through the rest of the league. They ran through the league schedule. And I asked them, like, well, what clicked? And they said it was the road trip and kind of the bonding and doing all that. Is that similar for a club volleyball team where that sense of all the girls being together, especially at this age? I mean, not to overemphasize the age part, but, like, at the younger age, it is a little bit different than 16 to 18, than the varsity range, right? That sense of camaraderie and chemistry, is that kind of something you guys are looking forward to in this trip, kind of results aside?
Poor Coach Taylor is not going.
I know, it's so sad.
But
So FaceTime,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. I think so. I think it will. We don't know yet because we've only done like Roseville, San Jose
Right.
type of thing.
I mean, Roseville's not exactly close, to
No,
be
it's
fair.
not close. But I think that the spending a lot of time together has been beneficial because what I noticed prior to this is because some of the girls follow our Lumos Instagram page.
Right.
So I'll see them posting and they're like having lunch together or like little picnics at the
Oh, dope. Okay.
park. Like outside of us, and these are girls that go to different schools.
Right.
So they are planning times to hang out and do all those things. And I think a big difference too is I saw a video on, I think it was TikTok, where a coach was saying like, if you want to go to college, you need to be at a club that's not worried about making clips and making up cheers. And it's like, yes,
Okay.
but also like, it's important for them to have fun and build bonds.
it
And
should-
you're spending this much money, like,
Right.
yes, going D1 or whatever is awesome, great, but also let's not minimize that they build lifelong friendships
Right.
and things like that from these things and memories that they have. That's
Right,
what's
right.
important to us. And so I love seeing that they have went on a picnic. There's like 4 of them, or they went out together or whatever. I think that's
What do they eat though? I'm curious on the food now. Like,
I
These
saw
are-
a lot of
these are
chips
important-
and candy.
all right, I totally get it. But it's like you said, you're spending so much money. Yeah, you're trying to go D1. I think the parents kind of hoping, okay, this is going to help them paint that case, film and all that kind of stuff. At the same time, like, make the moment worth it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you are spending 2.5, 3 grand, whatever it is, but you don't get these. One thing, I told my players is like, you don't get these moments back, especially at the age, right? go nuts, go have fun. Like the chips and can, you deal with diet later. but go have fun. Like enjoy the road trip. You know, LA is. First off, I love SoCal, so there's that part.
Yes.
But they get a chance to travel far and compete and go against different talent that you normally wouldn't see, right? That's outside the Bay Area like that. I think is awesome.
And I think we have to reinforce that with them. It's like, hey, you make mistakes in practice and it's okay. And if you make mistakes at the tournaments, and that's okay.
Right.
If you're not having fun, none of this is worth it, right? You have to have a good time, and if you're miserable the whole time, it's just going to suck.
Right. I think that's what separates y'all from the other. I mean, we talked a lot about this last year, too, as far as, like, really build the culture of the club and kind of building a different culture outside the business of volleyball in a sense. I think that's super cool. I'm excited for y'all in LA. I'm really curious of what this is going to look like, you guys, in Long Beach, because the picnics were like, there might be a yellow flag here, dives and everything, but you guys are you guys caravanning out there? You guys taking a bus, van, separate van? Just kind of
everyone's going
separate?
Separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's flying.
Nice.
I'm driving. A couple of other people are driving too.
And
I always hated that drive to LA.
It's Memorial Weekend, so some people are staying a little longer. Some
Makes
people
sense,
are going home, so we just, and again, all that, the buses, the charter buses, all that costs money.
Right.
So,
and then they stuck to a schedule and everything.
Yeah.
Right. It makes sense.
In future seasons, I would love to do that, or if we find a charter bus sponsor or something.
See, in future seasons, y'all have to have the charter plane at this point.
Right.
We need the video of, landed in London, Long Beach, and you see a charter plane door coming down and everything. That is, to me, that's the goal.
Lumos logo.
I hate
Private jet.
I will say Concord Airport's not that far. I'm telling you something. There's no traffic to Concord Airport, believe me. We meant to drive to LA. God bless. It's funny because my wife and I, we go to LA every now and then. We'll drive. We'll just make a whole weekend out of it, right? Because there's nowhere we're doing. We tried a day trip and no.
Yeah. That's
but the trip to drive to LA, you can really make a lot out of that. I think.
Yes.
There's a huge if you especially going down to 5 just before you hit the Grapevine. That huge there's a mall right there. The huge the outlet shopping center and everything. The food center we always get gas. That's we always have certain places we get gas and just always where we fill up. Yep. And then we hit the Grapevine. I just sleep the rest of the way because that's when we switch.
Yeah.
So I get the easy part, which is great when we drive.
I think that's so funny. I think that's when all men and women switch because that's what I switched to.
Yep. It's a natural change point.
Sorry, I'm a passenger princess. I do not drive.
My wife feels bad. She goes, "Do you want to switch?" I'm like, "Yes," because I'm trying to sleep.
I ask. I do ask to be fair, but my husband's like, "No, I got it."
So it's a bare minimum. It's like, you know what? I'll let you know so you can't complain.
Yeah. Right. I'll go in and get the snacks. You have to pump the gas still.
I will say that gas station there, right foot. So you have the mall. If you go inside, the mall's on your left, and then the gas station, the rest stuff's on your right. That I think it's like an Arco maybe or whatever. That gas station, that food mart is legit.
Yeah.
That food mart's Wawa levels legit, and it surprised me.
Is that the one we always stop at?
No, we don't often. We usually stop halfway.
Okay.
Because we only stop once.
Oh,
we stop in Kettleman City. Yeah.
Is that where the Starbucks is?
That's where the In-N-Out is.
I know where you're at.
Yeah. I think
I'm surprised I know where you're at, but I know where you're at.
Yeah, we always stop there.
We stop at the only it's like a Starbucks what Old Vasco used to be. You see a Starbucks and nothing.
Yeah.
I looked at something just go driving to the past. What? I think I saw a tractor driving down last time we went. I was like, this, okay.
Yeah.
But the Starbucks was gorgeous. Drive-thru was nice. The people were super friendly. It was empty, which is great. And then the one tractor down the road, I'm just like, I told my wife, I'm like, we're not in Kansas anymore. Awesome. Jessica, Taylor, Rebecca, thank you guys so much for coming by. I really appreciate you guys. I hope I'm looking forward to you guys in the tournament. I'm kind of terrified about Long Beach, but I'm excited for you guys. I wish you guys best luck going forward. Please keep us updated and everything happening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys. This has been another episode of Press Talk Sports Live each and every week when we post. We bring you everything happening in the sports world within the East County area. Don't forget that this podcast is brought to you by the Brentwood Press. For as low as $20 a year, you too can get a subscription to everything happening in East County. Go to thepress.net for more and click on subscribe in the upper right-hand corner. For Lumos Volleyball Club, for everyone, and AJ, guest starring, featuring AJ.
Thank you for letting us have
Of course. He's going to take my job soon enough. It's only a matter of time. Trust me. I give it about a year at this point. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and as always, take care of one another. We'll catch you guys soon.